When we're out here, my brother's still in town and we've got more wood to cut. We came and collected a bunch of wood. Actually, this was from a previous video. We had a friend that said, I've got some trees that are down out in my woods, come get them. So we got them, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, there's 4 dump truck loads or dump trailer loads of wood right there. And then we've got some dump trailer loads out here. So I'm gonna walk you over here. This load over here is a little bit cleaner wood, so we'll cut that first so it doesn't dull our chains for the rest of the day. But yeah, everybody's here, so I think Grandpa's got 3, 4 chainsaws, so we'll get those going and we'll get those things chopped up. I got some cool stuff I want to show you. Grandpa's got a tool, they call it a mingo, and we'll show you how we use that, how we mark our logs for length. All right, we'll use the Vermeer to pick these up and just cut them so they're not in the dirt or on the ground. The ones that are up in the air, we'll just cut them where they're at, and then we'll just use the Vermeer as needed. But yeah, we'll get started. Okay, this is the marking tool that my dad uses for his logs. My logs are much larger. This one is for, you can put different wheels in here. There's a wing nut on it, and that wing nut, you can actually tighten in whatever size wheel you have. So in this case, this is an 18-inch wheel, okay? And that means that one revolution here, if you see there's this little tab right here, and as that spins, it'll hit this. And this thing right here engages the sprayer. Let me see if I can get it to, maybe oh, there it goes. You guys see that okay? So as this comes around, this engages on that piece right there, and I'll spray it out this way, and it just sprays it. So it goes this way. There you go. All right. So now you back this thing up to the back, and then we put it on a log. Start right there in the center of the circle, and as we roll, it leaves you a little mark. Okay. And then if you, let's say you stop, all you got to do is just back this wheel up till it stops. Set this, I believe, yeah, you would set it right over your last mark. So let's come down here, same side. Then we rotate, and it hits right there. Okay, so 18 inches all the way around. So this thing's a pretty cool tool. It's called the Mingo, M-I-N-G-O. This one's kind of worn out, and it takes your standard like marking paint can that you'd get that sprays upside down, you know, for like your yard. So you can do white, orange, whatever color you're comfortable with. We got Grandpa's saw. This is one of his older saws. This is an 044, and I think those O series are really nice. Caleb's got a 026 there. The saw that you guys see me use at my place is the 036, and then Kevin's got this little battery saw, but it seems to do a pretty good job. It's got a quick tensioner on the chain. This thing, to keep it as a safety, you can press that in, and then when you want to just release it, I think you just press this button and just press down one click. And that way, when you go to try to use it, it won't work. It keeps the battery from falling out. Turn it upside down. But it won't let you cut yourself, okay? And then when you're ready to actually cut, you would engage, and then then it'll actually go. You got to hold it, because I can't get the safety in, but yeah. All right, got it, and you got the 026 now. All right, so we're gonna get them started and start chopping some wood. Start a saw. I'd lift the saw up and drop it. I don't try to pull this rope. It's like trying to start a motorcycle. Once that's on full choke, okay? Once I hear it kick, I flip it up one notch. This will put me on half choke, okay? And then it'll start running at that point, and then I'll just squeeze the trigger. Okay, I cut through this log. I don't want to dull my chain, and I'm not going to stick it in the dirt, and I want to lift this up, or at least roll it over. Now this is a pretty heavy log. Might be able to do it by hand. Let's say we don't have the Vermeer. We do have a log roller. Now I don't know if anybody's seen one of these. This one's super old, but they work really, really well. If you've seen one of those in a store, we'll see if we can get this one to bite. But it'll grab into that wood, and then you basically just lean into it and pull it over, and it'll actually hold it up for you. Okay, then you can come through and you can finish your cuts. Keep your chain out of the dirt. So this won't be a full demonstration on how to cut logs, but I see a lot of guys go in and they cut and then they pinch their saw. And normally what's happening is you have weight on this side and you have weight on that side, okay? So when you're in the middle, imagine what's gonna happen is when I cut this, this log's gonna wanna go down. So when I cut, what'll happen is I'll start with a groove as wide as my blade, but eventually that groove goes in, and then it'll eventually just pinch my blade before the log is cut. Okay, so I'm going to show you that. So I'll show you how to get it out. Okay. Okay, so as of right now, there's really no, yeah, you were on it. There's really no pinch right now, okay? You'll watch this gap. It'll actually close for you. So we'll start it back up. Oops. Turn it on. All right, you see it start to close? All right, it started to close. Now, when it starts closing, everybody kind of panics and we all want to lift up on the saw. Well, if you lift up, it's tighter here than it is down where the saw is, okay? So if I pull straight out, it comes out, and it really isn't pulling on my saw all that much, okay? See that? I was pulling a little sawdust, but it wasn't pulling that much. Now, if I tried to set it in here, I can't get it back in that crack, but down here, I could actually slide it right back in. See that? Okay? Now that it's pinched my blade, all I do is I wait for that signal. I'm no professional tree cutter, but I wait for that signal. When it starts squeezing, I know it's close. Then that's my signal to come in from the bottom and cut. And if it's closing up here, it's opening on the bottom. So it's going to allow my saw to cut through. Now, this is elevated, so you got to remember that. So this is going to fall, and I need to make sure my feet are out of the way. A couple things I look for. When this falls, is it going to fall straight down? Is there a branch sticking on the opposite side that it's going to hit that and then roll into me and crush me, right? So always look for that. I don't see anything that's going to cause this to fall back on me, but I still stand back and hit this with caution, okay? So we'll just tap this one and we'll watch it come down, okay? And it comes down fast and hard on big logs. This one isn't super big, but it is big. There's no escape. So you got to be out of the way before it comes down. This one, I'm on the exact same log, and I'm going to cut through this one. I've got weight down, bearing down here, but it's free on this end, okay? That means that log's allowed to tip, which means that this mouth is going to open for me, so I don't have any risk of it pinching my blade, okay? The only time it would pinch my blade is if I actually tried to cut from the bottom. And sometimes I see people, they're just cutting from the bottom, the top. It's so random, but if you can understand these simple physics, then you shouldn't have any trouble when you're cutting. You can see it starting to open, right? And it drops. No pinch. So that's kind of how you know if you need to cut from the top or the bottom. Always look at both ends and see if there's weight on them or not. All right, we're heading back through. I was coming by the barn, and we said that with the Mingo, we're marking 18-inch logs. So if you take a look here, I grabbed the tape measure out of the Vermeer, and this one's 18.5 inches long, okay? The reason he does that, his stove could actually take 2-foot logs. He's got a really big wood stove inside that he can put it in, but if you actually measure, this is probably, I would say about 37.5 inches. So 18 and 18 equals 36. So you got about 1.5 inches of play. But Dad's able to put these logs in here. Now, when you're marking them with a spray can and all that stuff, you can see this log is shorter than that log. And he finds a way, but he finagles them in here, the 18-inch logs, and it kind of like fits in these little baskets as good as anything. When we first started, we were actually cutting these lower, maybe down to here, but we were having trouble keeping as much wood in them. So Dad felt like he could reach down that far. So he started cutting just the top two off, and then he was grinding these just so there's no sharp edges for anybody that's grabbing logs. These make a really good tote, I guess, for wood when you think about sticking your forks under here. If you've got the capabilities with a tractor to actually lift those up, and you can just drive them up to the house, put a small tarp on them. When you're not doing that, you can keep them in a shed like this if you've got them, or just keep them out in the field where the wind can hit them.
Lunch is served.
Stop.
Ooh, some grilled cheese. Delicious.
You better put some.
All right, we're all wrapped up here. We got that pile cut and we got this pile cut. Dad can spend the rest of the year really splitting that stuff at his leisure. So, hey, thanks for joining us. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit notifications so you can watch more of our content. Thank you.